At 9 years old, she was handed to a man she barely knew, told to be grateful, told to be quiet. She was wearing a skirt made from potato sacks. No shoes. No one was coming to save her. That little girl grew up to build a media empire worth over $3 billion. She became the most powerful woman in entertainment. She sat across from presidents, kings, and the most broken people on earth, and she made every single one of them feel seen. But before any of that, she had to survive. This is the story they don't tell you, the version behind the magazine covers and the talk show smiles. This is Oprah before the empire. January 29th, 1954. Kosciuszko, Mississippi. A baby girl is born in a one-room farmhouse with no running water, no electricity, and a mother who was barely a woman herself. Vernita Lee was 17. The father, Vernon Winfrey, was gone before the child could walk. They named her Orpah after a biblical figure, but people couldn't say it right, so it became Oprah, and that small mistake would one day be known by billions. For the first 6 years of her life, Oprah lived with her grandmother, Hattie Mae. No toys, no television, no comfort most children take for granted. Her grandmother taught her to read before she was 3 years old. Not because she was privileged, but because education was the only door available to black girls in Mississippi. Her grandmother gave her the foundation for everything she became, because she taught her to read. And reading taught her she could be more. But when she was 6, that foundation was ripped away. Her grandmother got sick, and Oprah was sent to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to live with a mother she barely knew. A mother who worked long hours as a maid. A mother who had no time, no space. And honestly, no idea what to do with this bright, curious, loud little girl. And that is where things got very, very dark. Between the ages of 9 and 13, Oprah Winfrey was sexually abused by a family friend, then a cousin, then an uncle, people who were supposed to protect her, people who were supposed to be safe. She told no one, because no one asked, and because when you grow up poor and black in America in the 1960s, your pain is not always considered worth listening to. She buried it. She acted out. By 14, she was rebellious, skipping school, stealing money from her mother, lying, running away. Her mother, overwhelmed and exhausted, tried to send her to a juvenile detention center, but there was no space. So instead, she sent Oprah to live with her father. Vernon Winfrey was strict. He had rules. A curfew. He made Oprah read a book every week and write a report on it. He told her, "You have to be the best. Because if you are not the best, the world will not give you a second chance." Some people think structure destroys a child, but for Oprah, it saved her life. She started to excel in school. She joined the drama club. She entered speech competitions. She was so good at public speaking that at 16 years old, she won a full scholarship to Tennessee State University while still in high school. And then at 17, everything changed again. A local radio station in Nashville, WVLO, hired Oprah part-time while she was still a teenager. She read the news. She sat behind a microphone. And the moment she opened her mouth, people stopped what they were doing to listen. There is something that happens when someone is made for something. You can feel it. The room changes. The air shifts. That's what happened when Oprah spoke. By 19, she was the youngest anchor and the first black female anchor at Nashville CBS affiliate. She was on television. She was being seen. But television news is cold. It is scripted. It is controlled. And Oprah, this woman who survived poverty and abuse and rejection, was not built to read a teleprompter without feeling something. She got emotional during stories. She went off script. Her bosses told her to control herself, to be more professional, to be less. Oprah, they demoted her, moved her to a morning talk show in Baltimore. It was meant to be a punishment. It was actually a gift. In 1984, a struggling Chicago talk show called AM Chicago needed a new host. The ratings were terrible. The station was desperate. And someone somehow thought to call Oprah Winfrey. She arrived in January. 1 month later, the show was #1 in the city. Phil Donahue, the most famous talk show host in America at the time, had owned Chicago morning for years. He was professional, polished, prepared. Oprah was raw, real, and completely herself. And Chicago chose her. By September 1985, the show was renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show. It went national in 1986. Within a year, it was a #1 talk show in America. But this is where the story gets really interesting. Because Oprah didn't just want to be a talk show host. She wanted to own something. Most people in her position would have signed the contract, cashed the check, and said thank you. Instead, Oprah negotiated. She fought for and won ownership of her own show. She became the first black woman in history to own and produce her own television program. That decision, that one moment of refusing to just be an employee, made her a billionaire. Success brought money. It also brought enemies. In 1988, Oprah revealed on national television that she had been sexually abused as a child. The world watched. Millions of women wept because she was saying what they had never been allowed to say. And then came the attacks. The Texas beef industry sued her for $12 million after she said on air she would not eat beef following a story about mad cow disease. She could have settled quietly. She could have apologized and moved on. Instead, she moved her entire show to Amarillo, Texas, the heart of cattle country, and faced them directly. And she won. Critics said she was too emotional, too black, too heavy, too much. She was publicly humiliated about her weight for decades by tabloids, by comedians, by people who called themselves journalists. The same industry that profited from her face on their covers tore her apart for how she looked. She never stopped. She never quit. She never changed who she was to make them comfortable. That's not just resilience. That is a certain kind of power that money alone cannot buy. In 1988, Oprah acquired full ownership of her production company, Harpo Productions. Harpo is Oprah spelled backwards. From that moment, she wasn't just a star. She was a studio. By 2000, she launched the Oprah magazine, one of the most successful magazine launches in publishing history. In 2011, she launched the Oprah Winfrey Network, an entire cable channel built from scratch. She invested in restaurants, wellness companies, and Weight Watchers. That investment alone multiplied 6 times over. Forbes estimated her net worth at $2.7 billion. But here is the number that matters more than money. Oprah has given away over $400 million in her lifetime to schools, to students, to women in South Africa through the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy, to people she has never met and will never meet, because she remembered what it felt like to have nothing, and she decided that feeling would stop with her. That little girl in a potato sack skirt built a $1 billion empire, and then she gave half of it away. People look at Oprah and they see the money, the magazine, the network, the speeches, and all of that is real. But the thing that actually made Oprah Winfrey unstoppable was not talent. It was not luck. It was that she decided at some point in the middle of all that pain that her story was not going to end the way it started. She could have become bitter. She had every reason to. Instead, she became curious. She became generous. She sat across from the most broken people in the world, and she said, "I see you," because she had been there. Because she knew that the most powerful thing you can offer another human being is to make them feel less alone. That is not a business strategy. That is a calling, and the world paid for front row seats. She was born poor. She was broken young. She was told, in 100 different ways, that she was too much and not enough at the same time. And yet, she became the woman that presidents call, the woman who can end a book's obscurity with a single mention, the woman who turned her wounds into a window and let the whole world look through. Oprah Winfrey did not wait for someone to believe in her. She believed in herself, loudly, expensively, and without apology, until the world had no choice but to follow. If you are watching this and you have been told your story is too small, too painful, too complicated to matter, remember the girl in the potato sack skirt. She built a billion-dollar empire from nothing, and she never forgot where she came from. That's the power of a story well lived. If the story moved you, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, not for me, but because Oprah's story deserves to be heard by someone who needs it right now. Someone who is sitting exactly where she once sat, feeling like the world has already decided their ending. Your share might be the thing that changes their mind. Subscribe to Kata Lest Be Can, because this is just a beginning. Every week we bring you the stories of the people who had every reason to quit and didn't. The billionaires, the activists, the outliers who rewrote what was possible. You don't want to miss what's coming next. And if you stayed all the way to this moment, thank you. That means something. Now go share this story with somebody who needs to hear it today.